I think anytime I have seen a shadowy figure in a room, I don't think it's ever been a good sign that my father is around.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Insight Check, where myself and my very good friend Alex will be talking about all sorts of things from improvising and role-playing to up until the current episode of A Matter of Time. And Alex currently has his BabyDale background.
Yeah.
If you have not yet watched the Chronicles of Folivora, The Adventures of BabyDale.
He knows the full title.
I do! I had so much fun! I had so much fun in that campaign. But you can go to Alex's YouTube page, The Ugly Dog Presents. There will be a link in the description, and you can watch the Adventures of BabyDale, where I got to be a player playing maybe one of my very favorite characters that I've gotten to play, Cousteau, the octopus Warforged creation. One
of the most broken children that have ever been created.
Just the most broken I could ever create. I gave Sean so much shit throughout the Saga of the Stormslayers campaign because, he was an armor class hog. I think by the time we got to level 20, his armor class was like 28 or something. And I always gave him shit for that. And then as soon as I got the opportunity to be an armorer artificer, I was like, give me all of the armor class.
I'm level 3, but my armor class is 23.
Yeah,
you.
It was great.
Until awesome. I took you out of the tank, and then your armor class was 10. So
no, don't do that. Yeah, and then I think for somehow, whether I don't know for sure because the 6th episode.
We'll see.
We'll see. As of the recording of this,
on
December 30th of 2025,
yes. It's been 2 years.
The 6th episode is still yet to be posted. Yes. But somehow, by the final battle, I got the spell Shield.
Yes,
which,
you're level 5.
Yeah, which was pretty crazy. And I think I might have gotten to a higher armor class in that adventure than Sean ever did in the Stormslayers campaign.
Anyways, go see it. It's on Ugly Dog Presents.
Watch the Chronicles of Folivora, The Adventures of BabyDale.
This is The Adventures of BabyDale.
Yeah, really fun campaign. Go watch it. But tonight we are discussing A Matter of Time. Amongst other things, we have some questions from our fellow players who were unavailable to join us this evening. We are just at the tail end of the holiday season as of the recording of this video, so I think Sean and Justin are both traveling from seeing family this evening. Evan is still recovering from the holidays and has a very busy work schedule as he's just returned home. So tonight it's just Alex and I, and just like old times.
The two of us sitting in a room bullshitting.
Just ever since we were 2 years old.
Just sitting in a room by ourselves bullshitting, making up stories, making videos,
drinking wine.
Well, since we were 2, yes, exactly. I am Greek.
Well,
so
you're Greek, yeah.
It does track. Oh my god. I kept saying Yaya today too. People be like, Greek? I'm like, yes, thank you, correct.
Yeah. Man, we just had to both point that out at the same time. Like, we are of the same mind.
It's true. I mean, when you've known someone for long enough, you click in that way.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with your questions, or do you want to start with the one for me? Do you want to go back and forth?
Yeah, I'll kind of go back and forth. Maybe we start... No, we're not going to start with that one. I'll start with a question from Evan for you. Yeah, I will start with that one. Okay. What scene has been the most fun for you to roleplay?
I saw that question too while I was driving back, and I was like, there's fun for 2 different reasons.
Yeah.
I personally, the funniest scene to RP has always been any time I'm pissed at Aspen.
Okay.
And so specifically this last
it's
session,
happening more and more often.
Well, Sean needs to stop playing a solo game in the middle of a party game, doesn't he? So I think getting to RP a little bit of my frustrations into the character, being like, me and Pen, they're both mad that my brother is not here to be participating with the whole group. So getting to have a little bit more of a conflicting, and it's a conflicting way with another party member. And if it was somebody that wasn't playing my brother, I think it would be a lot more butting heads. But I think because both Sean and I understand that we're playing siblings, that this is not anything to take seriously. This is not anything to be like, this is going to be a problem for us in the future. Like, no, this is what brothers do. We will lift each other up and be like, you can't be abandoning us, and run with them. I think I've always loved playing larger characters, so I'm never afraid to back away from that. But that's funniest. But the most fun to role play personally, I don't know, has been kind of the smoke scenes. The bit of I don't, as a PC, I've never really gotten to flirt or kind of deal with that, and not even flirt, even deal with like a romantic interest as a PC. So I don't think I have successfully flirted with Smoke at all. I think I've just kind of been like, hey, don't shoot me, and like run, or like meeting him on rooftops, but like trying to be more stoic and seeing if that's sexier as him. But it's probably not. By the way, this note that I got, this is part of it too. It's Smoke stuff. Pence, due to some bureaucratic bullshit, some items. Is that from you or is that from
No,
Evan?
Evan wrote that for your Secret Santa.
Can it be canon that he actually gave me a note or not? Because like this changes not. Okay, so for the people at home who didn't watch the Secret Santa episode, Evan's the Secret Santa thing to me was a note from Smoke saying, Pence, due to some bureaucratic bullshit, some items confiscated at your home had to be returned. This changes nothing. I think that is so funny if I actually got a note from Smoke, because then that's like one of those things that Pence would have like on his mirror being like, there's still hope. It's still for me. But if not, I understand. But it's been fun to do that.
As Smoke doesn't currently know where you are.
Damn, yeah, it's true.
He wouldn't be able to send you that, but maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's just interesting. I don't think, and on purpose, I've not tried to play a very suave version of Pen. I think was not back in the beginning of this campaign was not the time for him to be like, hey, Smoke, how's it going? I'm back. He's like, all right, my dad's gone. I'm back to being hunted. Like, I don't think it's time. So I think now maybe coming back after talking to Persephone and knowing a little bit more about what's going on in his life, he'll feel a little bit more confident about trying to get Smoke on his side, I should say.
Ooh, interesting.
So, but that's been the most fun. Tetron, on you, what has been the most fun for you to see us RP? And what have you enjoyed what character have you enjoyed RPing as besides Baruch?
Baruch is so much fun.
Just like sighing constantly.
Yeah. So always for me, the best scenes are the ones that I have little to no involvement in. Honestly, that always makes me feel so good as a dungeon master to watch the other players role play amongst themselves and watch them be so engrossed in the story and their characters that they are not relying on me as the storyteller. So there was the session that we had where Penth and Aspen had their whole conflict.
Was it about killing a guy? Was it the one?
Yeah, it was just after you guys had killed the guy, and that was so entertaining for me to just sit back and watch, because it started with you guys in a high state of conflict at the very beginning of the session, and then at the end of the session you guys were huddled together outside pretending to be homeless people, and I
liked watching that session. That was a fun episode.
It was so great just seeing the arc of where the two of you started the session and then ended the session, and scenes like that are a lot of fun for me to just sit back and watch and see how everything is playing out and how invested you guys are and what it is that you're invested in. I love those a lot. As far as characters that have been a lot of fun to roleplay, man, part of me wants to say Francois.
And the elf I hate, the French elf that I'm just like, God damn it, we're following this man into the tournament.
The entire crew of Lightning's Laugh was a lot of fun. And then Elsbeth has been
she's fun.
just a small, sassy bundle of joy for me.
She's not negating. She's fun. She tries to give Pence a little more parameters, and he tries to go away from them. She's not telling him no, but she's saying we have to live within our means.
Stop talking to the people that give us money. You have a negative charisma modifier, Penth.
I know, which
talking
is
to the people that give us money.
I now do not regret giving myself a negative charisma, because I think it has not delivered in a comedy way as much as I wanted to yet, but I know for a fact when necessary it is going to be fuck all.
I think all characters should start with a negative modifier somewhere.
We're not perfect people.
It's just fun. That actually has bled into a little bit of the discussions that I have laid out for later, but that's okay.
Okay.
Sean wanted to know how do you feel about who Penth is today versus who he was growing up?
I think there's more of Penth's kind of rambunctiousness growing up than there is today than I expected when I started playing him. I think I really came in here thinking he's going to be very much he doesn't talk a lot. he sits there and he observes and he just protects people. And then I realized that that was kind of the starting point for a lot of different people in our campaign.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it was one of those things that I looked at it and I was like, no, I think if I was playing in a different party, it would have stayed that way. But as soon as I started dealing with my siblings, the past version of Penth came out. So I think future Penth is going to be a little bit more stoic, as we talked about, like in 10 years, 5 or 10 years. He's definitely going to be like only saying what he needs to, very sure of himself. But I think what I like is that Penth, at times in this age, he's like right in between that past and that future, is that there are moments where he's like, when he's dealing with Persephone, he is that person. Yeah. He is that stoicism. But when the family's still there, that little piece of shit of him comes out, and he like that's where he starts getting like what's the word, like flummoxed when dealing with love interest, because he knows family's watching. Like he doesn't want to talk to Smoke right now because all of his siblings are there. And I was like, ooh, and I was like, God damn it, I can't do this because it's already coming out in some way. And then I just think what's interesting is I think it was Thomas that really brought out Penth being a little bit of a piece of like back to being a little bit younger when Thomas showed up, because I think Aspen and Skia both came in like, hi, I'm here, I live, I'm like, I'm older now, I'm dealing with things, and I have my secrets.
This is like the career that I'm in, this is who I am now. Yeah.
And Thomas came in being like, hey guys, what's up? And I think that immediate energy came out and brought out a little bit less of a stoic person, and brought out more of like, God damn it, this is my brother.
Yeah, you have the two siblings that are in established careers and at their home, and then you have the one sibling who's acting like he just got off a cruise ship.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm there just being like, oh shit, now I'm the cruise captain now. Yeah. Which I don't think, in this question for you, who do you think, if there is one, is a leader of the group? Because right now, I don't think it's Penn. I think it's Aspen.
I don't know that the group has a leader yet. I think each person has stepped up a little bit in varying degrees throughout the course of our 15 sessions so far. But you guys have kind of traded off a little bit, but nobody's stepping up as the leader.
Which is fine.
Yeah, totally fine. And like a little bit of meta knowledge is just that Sean as Antony was very much like the de facto leader of the Storm Slayers, and I know that he as a player does not want that role again. And I think that somewhat plays into how, Aspen is often separating himself from the group, and very much how Sean intended on playing this character, wanted to play a sort of like James Bond type character. I know that Sean is not interested in being the group's leader when one is required. I see, like we've talked about, like you even mentioned, how Penth is now versus how you see Penth in the foreseeable future, and we've talked about how you envision Penth towards the end of this campaign, which I'm so excited to see.
Balin's Skull!
Balin's Skull! Yeah,
OG,
I'm so excited to see that transition. I think it would make sense to see in late versions of this campaign Penth as the leader. And I think that just makes sense. I know that Sean/Aspen doesn't want to be. I don't think, and I mean this in just the nicest way possible, I don't think Thomas is capable of being the leader. And Skia...
Challenge.
Honestly, he might surprise me. And Skia, I think, is too soft-spoken and too much of like an introvert and an internal processor to really step into that role. And I might be completely wrong about any or all of those. Just sort of a prediction. I think Penth, from where I'm sitting now, with 15 sessions under our belt, I think Penth is the most likely candidate for an eventual party leader.
Because it keeps failing trying to lead, which is the funniest part of it. It's just like the Minotaur and like the moments where he's like, I am trying to step forward, and then like I'll kill someone easily, but whether or not I can lead the rest of the group to killing someone, that's the problem.
Right. Yeah.
I will spirit gun the crap out of somebody if I need to, but it's more of the, I don't know. I've never had to lead other people, and I have. I know. Yeah. I feel bad because I feel like there's 2 combats, so I just completely obliterated the person by accident.
So up until this point, this is another question from Sean. Are the sibling dynamics different than what you had originally imagined? Originally meaning like pre-session 1, because we had our Discord and talked about backstories and talked about personalities of the characters for months before we even played session 1. And we had 3 different session zeros that in varying degrees talked about like the histories and who each of these characters were. So with all of that in mind, but before we actually sat down and played, are the sibling dynamics what you imagined, or are they different?
I think, for the most part, me and Aspen's are spot on. I think the way that Sean and I described our characters in the beginning and how we acted as kids, I think that followed through. It has continued every session. I think Sean has stuck to that character of Aspen so well.
Yeah.
And I think my version of Penth is adamantly, I think this is exactly how we would have acted as kids. This is exactly how we're acting as adults. And exactly how we talked about how Aspen was always kind of the one who didn't really want to do fighting, was always in the background, and I'm always the one trying to pull them or protect them from things even if they didn't ask for it. I think I'm less competitive with Thomas than I thought I was going to be.
Yeah, and that's
that was the one
Evan and I have talked about that as well, because we mentioned with all 4 of you growing up that both Penth and Thomas being the more like physical ones, that as youth you guys were constantly competing with each other about, you know, who was going to be fastest, who was going to be strongest, who was going to win in a fight, blah, blah, blah. And so I think coming into the campaign, I expected you and Thomas to butt heads more than you and Aspen.
I think Thomas, but that's the thing, Thomas didn't come in with the intention of butting heads, but I think immediately, just what was going on in Aspen's life, immediately butted heads with Penth's life too. I think the first session, my favorite moment that I think surprised you, which I was surprised that you were surprised, is like, look, we talked about this, is me destroying the camera.
Yeah.
The person taking a picture, and I was like, I don't think Penth would like the Wasp to know that he's here. And then you bring Wasp negotiators up to the top floor anyways. So it was a point that at least I'm not in the papers.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And so I think Aspen and I got to butt heads because I think our lives became very different at that moment. Even though we're both being hunted by Wasp and things like that, we have different ideas of being public, and I think that's where we kind of butt heads. And then I think, I don't know, Thomas to me feels more helpless. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. I'm going to look forward to the day where, this is a Naruto reference for you, Briland. He pulls a Rock Lee where he just takes off his weights that were training on his legs and arms and just beats the shit out of someone. Because right now I feel like Thomas is still a little bit like all over the place, and I haven't seen him needing. Well, it's also his story hasn't needed him to focus, right? We've just seen Katana, right? We were calling her Katana.
Yep. You don't
Katana.
know her name.
Okay, good. We just did with Katana, which by the way, Aspen almost steamrolled that entire battle by suggesting shit to her, which is so good. But also, I'm so glad. I'm sorry to be a rules like what's it called, rules gremlin, but like I wanted to make sure suggestion wasn't just being like, all right, the battle's over. I wanted a little bit more fun.
Super helpful for the reminder that it was a concentration spell.
Yes, for the next time.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is I think even in that moment, me and Aspen kind of took over that fight, and I think the next time I deal with a Thomas-centric story, I think Penth is going to step back and see what his brother. I think it's one of those moments of like, I used to compete with you. I want to see what you can do now. Has Thomas lost his edge? I guess it was a question that I would want to ask Evan.
Ooh, interesting.
Is that why we're not competitive anymore? Like, what part of Thomas stopped being about the physical aspect of him?
Okay,
you know what I mean?
That's super cool.
So,
and that's also a really great way to narratively describe something that, or narratively cover something that you and I as storytellers understand, like in our core, like in that fight on the docks of the airship, like Thomas had to fight the katana. It would not have been narratively satisfying for Penth to come in and just like punch the katana in the face and she's knocked out.
Correct.
And it's like, that's an antagonist specifically of Thomas's story. So like Thomas needs to have that fight. So what you described is a really great way of just like making sure that, and in this example, Thomas gets to face his antagonists without Penth or any of the other siblings like interfering. Whereas like, you know, in a less serious or a less narrative focused home game, it might be like, oh, it makes sense for all 4 of us to team up on this individual like enemy because that's going to be easiest for us moving forward. And
it's not as cathartic.
Right.
At that, yeah.
That was something that like, you know, at least once came up in the Stormslayers campaign where I had to like take a point and say like, and I don't remember exactly. I think it was like, oh, this is Fenshi's villain, so
Yeah.
I kind of need you to like take a step back so that Fenshi can have this cathartic moment of facing this antagonist. And like, yeah, that's something that you and I are aware of because we've spent our entire lives dedicated to the art of storytelling.
Yes.
Yeah.
30 years of storytelling.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm gonna give you one now, kind of on
Okay.
that same vein
Yeah.
of character work. Is there something you're missing from your PCs that you want to see more of?
From
Us.
4 of you guys?
Yeah, from the 4 of us. Like more you want to see
Um,
in session or even out of session stuff. I know we have an out of session, for those of you we have an out of session roleplay that we sometimes do for shits and giggles. I feel like after the holidays we're gonna get more into that.
Yeah.
Especially after, I'm so excited next week to the tournament episode.
That's my plan
tournaments.
for our next session. My plan is to cover the storm, and then the day leading up to the tournament finale, just fly through that real quick, and then like the second half of the session, my plan is to do that tournament battle, which I'm really excited for.
I to especially getting Sentinel now. I think
Yeah.
10th would look. I'm just thinking about these cinematics of being Sentinels. Sentinels, like, it's a basic thing, like tough or resilience. It's a basic feat that not everyone's like. It's not that cool, but cinematically, Sentinel's amazing.
Sentinel is. I disagree entirely. I think Sentinel
Really?
is one of the core feats. Like, you know, there are feats that have narrative significance, and like there are feats that are pretty obviously specifically tailored to certain like classes and whatnot. But there
Like
are
Spell
some,
Saber.
yeah,
Yeah.
there are some feats that anybody could take, and it would be fantastic. Which like, so when I did the Storm Slayers campaign, and we knew from the beginning we were going all the way to level 20, and that I grant a feat every 5 levels, so that everybody was going to have 4 feats at one point. And when they hit level 5, I said one person can take Sentinel, and one person only,
A bunch of reactions.
until we get to level 15 at least, and then
Yeah.
I'll consider someone else getting Sentinel. And Fenshi took it, and it was clutch so many times. The other one that I think is just like always good is Resilient.
Yeah.
Like if anybody needs a feat and doesn't know what to take, I'll be like, Resilient's great. You get like an extra proficiency saving throw. It's phenomenal. So yeah, I think Penth with Sentinel is going to be so useful.
Why is our cleric the one in the front lines?
The cleric should be in the front lines.
The
That's
cleric
what
should be
best.
guiding bolt the shit or sacred flaming people. It's so. Anyways, my question for you is, what are you missing for our PCs? I got a change because I love Sentinel so much.
Gosh, I feel like you guys have done such a phenomenal job so far. What am I missing from the PCs? Okay, and I've addressed this to you guys. It's not something that I've included in our session, like in the episodes that air. And this is, you know, you've brought it up even tonight. I don't like the feeling of running 4 individual sessions at once, and that, you know, it made sense in the very beginning, but now we're 15 sessions in, and I want to see you guys working together more. I want you guys to start getting to the point where you as characters are recognizing like, okay, I'm really good at these things, and I can help out my sibling who isn't so good at those things, or like I need to go run this errand and it's something that I'm not super comfortable sharing with the others, but they're going to be better at facing this challenge than I am, so I do trust them, even though I do need to get over this, whether it is like a shame response or guilt or whatnot. So I want to see you guys leaning on each other more and working together more going forward. And it's something that we've talked about, and I trust each of you to work your way into that. As I said, you know, where we started this campaign, you guys hadn't seen each other for the most part for a decade. And each of you as players very intentionally had secrets going into the campaign that you were very...
Yeah, we do need to work together more. I think.
And here's the thing is, like, I trust that you guys will. We had the period where you guys were getting back into getting to know each other and trust each other and trying or seeing if you could keep your secrets hidden from each other. And I think now we've gotten to the point where we are beginning the process of moving past that. So I do trust you guys as performers and role players that you are moving in the right direction. Yeah, and like we've mentioned that, yes, you guys haven't seen each other for 10 years or so, but who do you trust more in the world than your siblings who you are all trauma bonded together? So I am looking forward to seeing that coming.
Yes, Aspen has been the one who's been like refusing to share any secret. I know he's part of like a secret, like a spy guild and things like that. So hopefully we'll get something out of him in the future. Because I'm happy to help him, even if it's just keeping the secret. But that's the thing. It's like he needs to tell us these things.
Yeah. Sure. I think.
You don't have to say anything.
I won't.
If Sean has plans, Sean has plans.
I'm not even thinking about Sean.
You think about yourself?
No.
Selfish.
There's only two others.
Oh yeah. You've said before that one of us is lying at the very beginning about like their lives and things.
Yeah, there's like, I think Aspen has been loudest about having secrets. And that doesn't mean that others don't have secrets.
Skia, though, I will say Justin's doing a good job of slowly dripping a little bit, because I think I didn't catch it the first time until most recently his last session. He keeps talking about like working, like fighting in rebellions outside of Center Ring, and I was like, or not outside of Feyroth.
Yeah, outside of the Golden Alliance.
Outside of the Golden Alliance, and I'm like, I caught that when I was rewatching the last episode, and then we had a session again. And he was like, no, I genuinely fought in these. I was like, okay, good to know Skia has fought in rebellions, but
Skia has also displayed small amounts of like PTSD, and yeah, so it'll be very interesting to see what happens.
Speaking of Skia, Justin asked, have the organizations you placed into the story, like the industrialists and like whatever Helena's doing, whatever Hippolyta's political affiliation is, have they done what you intended for them to do for the story? Or is there anything more you're excited to flesh out and introduce? Because of course Justin loves one thing, and it's fantasy politics.
I typically don't love fantasy politics, but I spent a lot of time just fleshing out Feroth and the second Golden Alliance leading up to this campaign, and I found a brief hyper-fixation on like the current political climate and like detailing out how the political structure works and how various people are elected and how long they serve and who their constituents are and blah blah blah. So I did get pretty into the world building, the details of the Golden Alliance's politics, specifically centered in Feroth. So far we've seen two pretty large factions, being the industrialists, which are the political party that currently holds the most power, including the seat of the chief sovereign, and the vice chief sovereign as well. Hippolyta is an industrialist. And then we've seen WASP, and the workings of WASP, specifically through the negotiators, and WASP is a government agency that is mostly controlled by the paramilitary party, which is another one of the political parties of Feroth.
That's Helena Calathi.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's not the leader of that party.
She's a member.
Yeah, and she is the leader of the negotiators, so she's employed by the government agency that is WASP. There are two more political parties that we haven't really gotten into yet, and we'll see if we do. They are less important. It depends on how far into the future this campaign extends, because at this point, the chief sovereign, Victoria Reisenberg, has announced her intention to run again for chief sovereign, but that election doesn't take place for another almost 3 years. So we'll see if we get that far and what the climate of not just politics, but of the campaign is, and if that's important. So all of this is to say, I'm really happy with how the two political parties, these two factions that I've focused on, how I've introduced them and sort of maintained their various background levels throughout the campaign so far. and there's still others that I am looking forward to bringing to the forefront. Mostly what comes to mind is, we've in the campaign or in the background of the campaign, people have talked about this transcontinental railroad that has recently been approved.
And seeing somebody try to kill for it.
Yeah. So that's like, we haven't seen, like, we've heard so far that there is backlash against it, and there is a faction of people who oppose it for cultural reasons. You guys on Lightning's Laugh have escorted this Orcan ambassador, who you understand is part of the political opposition to this transcontinental railroad. But apart from her, you really haven't seen like too much of the opposition to that, or understand who they are, where they're coming from. And I'm really excited to get into what it is that drives them and how they are going to operate. That's something that I'm looking forward to a lot. And then there's other factions and stuff that I'm really looking forward to diving
Secret
into.
magic faction?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to get into it because of spoilers for the campaign moving forward. Now, Justin asked the same question of both of us, so I'd like to know what. So I have a different way of looking at this question for you, but if you have any insight into the original question of what organizations that you placed into the story, if they've done what you intended, and if there are any others that you were excited to flesh out or introduce.
I want to hear your version of the question too.
My version of the question for you is essentially the same thing, but instead of organizations, the people, the characters that you created in your backstory, that then, like, specifically Elsbeth and Smoke, who are characters that you created and then gave to me to roleplay. If they have been the characters that you envisioned, that you intended, yeah.
Elsbeth's 10 out of 10, phenomenal. I love Elsbeth. She's fun. She's exactly like I imagined. I wanted a gruff dwarven woman to basically like surrogate parent me.
Yeah.
Almost like not even by me asking, by sighing and being like, I guess I have to take care of this child now. But my child is 6'8". Like she gives you that energy, and I kind of like, I like that back and forth. I like that you gave us a little bit more of the back and forth. I think Smoke is I think when I first dealt with Smoke, I think it was session 3, I was like, he's so much meaner. and in like the best way possible, because I was expecting this almost like shy boy gay, like, oh hey, it's you, like tucks the hair behind ear, and you're like, just doing my job, sir. And I was like, God, that's so much better. I was like, that's such a better character to deal with, such a better character to have to deal with as what Pent turned out to be.
Okay, you were expecting Zelda from Fantasy High.
Yes, okay. I was like Zelda from Fantasy High, me being like stoic and being like, we have our differences, but I'm right and you're wrong. But instead it became this manic little like Goliath man being like, why would you like me? And that version of him being like, it's all I just like the idea that he's in it. He's I wouldn't say drank the Kool-Aid as much as he's understood in the military, there are people who are there for the structure. There's something in there, he feels like someone who's there that like it is fulfilling that niche that he needed to fulfill to feel better, to feel like he has purpose. And he feels like someone who is like dealing with purpose, and I love that because I think Pent is also dealing with purpose, but in such a less finessed way and less strict way. I love what you've done with Smoke because I'm like, God damn it, it's so much funnier that I'm like being like, I'm sorry, I will hurt you, and he just like, there's no give or take from Smoke, and I like that I haven't broken that yet, because I feel like there's something more after that, but I haven't broken there, and I like that there's a wall, and I think it was very smart of you to build a wall to get over.
Yeah.
So I love what you've done with that. Organizations, industrialists are becoming more interesting to me in the fact that I always like to study my enemy, and just like in real life, I study capitalists for my own reasons. Catholics, correct. Anything to do with religion or money, let's be real. And so I enjoy that Pullman, I finding, is more part of the industrialists, but in a different way. I don't think in the same way as Zachariah Vanderlei. Yeah, I think Zachariah, his name was on like the whole plot, right? We found evidence that his name is on the plot for the orc person, but we didn't see Pullman's name on there. Or maybe we weren't looking for Pullman's name.
No, so what Aspen found amongst the blueprints that were within the Orcan ambassador and her Vizier Joser, what he found was that cannons, these sort of like mountainside bunkers that were used and operated to attack Lightning's Laugh, were the original creations of Zachariah Vanderlei's company.
So he would probably know at least about the model. I wouldn't know if he was. That's the thing is like, are they using Stark? Is Iron Man the one attacking you, or are they using Stark Industry tools? So is it a ploy? Is it things like that?
To call Zachariah Vanderlei Iron Man is, I think I once described him as round as he is tall.
Chode, yeah, we talked about Chode.
Yeah.
Chode Jones. But the thing is, I feel like you described Pullman the same way. I'm like, are all these industrialists just like little fat men? Are they all just little munchkin men?
I described Pullman as foppish.
I prefer foppish. I think Jesse Plemons would be a great Pullman.
Honestly, like, yeah, we can cast Jesse Plemons as Willard Pullman.
Especially the last moment you had with him in I call it the get out moment, where he's like stirring the tea.
Yeah.
Like that shit feels very Jesse Plemons to me. When you were doing that scene, I was like, God, that feels like I would want to be in a scene with him so badly. Him doing that.
Cool.
But anyways, yeah, I'm interested in industrialists in that way. I would love to see if there's any magical organizations, but I think I would like to meet the Yarmon Dwarves. That's the organization I'm looking forward to. And I think mostly we're talking about characters I created. We still haven't talked about my mentor. We mentioned him a little bit last session. But I think, especially more maybe now in the past, I think he's going to be coming more into play. Because I don't think my character's seen him since I left Father. So,
No.
Even though he's the reason I went into the military to begin with.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And I think Penth had one of the better relationships with his mentor.
Well, I don't know about Aspen. I feel like Aspen, his mentorship went through after Father.
I think so. Dusk, Aspen's mentor growing up, was always the one who, whenever Aspen tried to run away, always sort of dragged Aspen back. Indirectly taught Aspen the importance of wearing a mask. All of these are things that we've talked about in the campaign, so none of it's spoilery.
No.
Like, Dusk certainly had an impact on Aspen, but I don't know that their relationship was as, I don't want to say healthy, I don't want to say good, but like, his relationship with Dusk was not of the same caliber of Penth's relationship with his mentor. Skia and their mentor honestly had like a pretty decent relationship. And then Thomas had a series of mentors because Father was never happy with what he got out of Thomas.
Because he never got anything magical out of him from a different mentor. Yeah.
And then the longest mentor that Thomas had was they had a very I think as far as like their relationship goes, Evan and I have talked a lot about J.K. Simmons' character in Whiplash.
Yeah. That feels very Father. I can't wait to see what Father looks like, because I'm like, J.K. Simmons would be a fun Father. I still like John Malkovich.
He'd be so good as Father. John Malkovich would be really great. Who's the other one that you mentioned? Gary Oldman would.
Gary Oldman is everyone.
Gary Oldman could be anyone. Very, just sort of a segue from that question, or from your response to that question, into another one that Evan asked. You mentioned that you wanted to see and interact with the Yarmon Dwarves. Do you have anything on your D&D wish list that you'd like to do in this campaign, whether it's fighting a certain creature, a certain monster, a certain type of puzzle or challenge? What's on your wish list for the campaign?
That is such a good question. I don't know. I guess I'm a two-parter. Like, for roleplay, I think Vindication, I think, is what I'm really looking forward to. My wish list is Vindication. And whether it's in this season, whether it's Vindication with getting Smoke on our side and having that play out, and not as he has to die, or is it a Vindication against Helena Calathi and what she's trying to do? But I think it's hard right now. That feels more of a long game thing.
Gotcha.
For wish list for combat, I don't know. With Cleric, their wish list is always to have that, to be heard by their deity and have that awe-inspiring moment where they just like, I don't know. I want to be hot shit. That's
every D&D character though. For like an extended campaign, it's like you want to, like, there's something inside everybody us who are more inclined to storytelling than others, especially. But I feel like there's something inside everybody that's like, if like they want that narrative satisfaction of starting a character with weak points, with challenges, with flaws, and then overcoming all of those and ending a story being hot shit.
And that my hot shit would be more paladin stuff. Remember we talked about like that the final form of him is full paladin, which is like, I don't know, you have more of a combat wish list than I do. I feel like we talked about with goblins, like that you have more of a wish list because you don't PC as much as I have. Like, and even then, I'm more of a DM too. I'm trying to think of like, is there a creature I'm really looking forward to?
Here's the thing: like I've controlled most of the creatures in the monster manual at some point or another. So as far as like combat in our campaign, my wish list is more about challenges within combat. Like I don't want to throw I don't want to say a dragon because he has what dragon in this setting, but I don't want to throw some like huge creature at you guys and have it just be a hit point battle. Like I want to create challenges inside of combat, so that's more of like my wish list as like a DM approaching the campaign. But if there's like, is there a monster or a thing that you want to face off with?
I don't know, the infinite library we did so long ago that clicked off, that like checkmarked so many of my PC like bucket lists because I never had somebody do a labyrinth like that with me. I love that shit, and those are like things I love to build myself. And so as you know, you've dealt with one of my labyrinths.
Pam's labyrinth.
Pam's labyrinth. I forgot I named her Pam. Pam's labyrinth, and I just I love those things, so I'd like to see more of those. But I know that like, is it a wish list? My wish list for this whole campaign is to figure out where the fuck happened to magic.
Okay.
Which is exactly what Pullman wants too, which is really funny that he was trying to like magically suggest me. I was like, you really didn't need to do that, dude. Like I was already there with you.
Did he suggest you?
Oh my god, it's so funny. Wait till you watch the episode, kids. That's phenomenal. I was trying to go back to so your wish list is to do more entertaining, like multifaceted battles and combat. I can get with that.
Okay, so I'm gonna add this caveat to the question, and I feel like I know what your answer is going to be. But going back to like wish list creatures or monsters that you want to fight, are there NPCs on your wish list that you want to fight?
I want to fight a god so badly, but I don't want to fight Persephone. I love the concept of fighting a god. But Persephone's not the one, but Persephone's really the only god we've talked to so far. And I love her. Her and the Fates. I love that whole thing. I'm not gonna. I knew you would. I know, like I act like I'm pissy with my patron, or I'm pissy with my god, but I'm okay with her. I love her. I just think Penth needs to be a little bitchy to accept her when he's older. That's the whole point of this whole. Obviously Helena, but I don't know if she's like she's not an early season thing. So I'm gonna look forward to being at a certain level where it feels plausible to beat Helena, because right now I feel like I'd get sniped immediately.
That was the answer that I expected.
But other than that, honestly, I'm trying to think of other people's villains or other people's stories that I'm interested in seeing more of. And I think not going against them, but getting to interact with them is Thomas's ex. I think it's really interesting.
The Hatchet?
The Hatchet, thank you. I was trying to remember which blade he was. That whole storyline, I'm really intrigued in like what organization he was a part of. I love the idea of the knife words, and like Yanagiba feels like it's such a cool name, but then you looked into it and you're like, this is a sushi knife. Like, is it because was a pirate, or was it because he's simple? Like, so I'm interested. I know Thomas is keeping that close to heart, but like,
you know of so far, you know of Yanagiba, Katana, Hatchet, and the Great Sword.
And the Great Sword, which is the father of Hatchet and Katana. Yeah, I think I caught on to the context clues for that one. That's such a fun idea that feels like Feyroth doesn't matter to that storyline as much. Center Ring does, and I kind of like that a little bit too. I like Feyroth. I don't know. I'm as someone who's not always in Center Ring, this has been really fun to get into. I'm still thinking about other NPCs I want to beat the shit out of. I don't know, name some that you think I would want to beat up. Like Smoke, obviously I don't want to beat up, I want to convince, but
this is back.
Zephyr Vandalay.
I think at the towards the end of our first insight check, which was you and Sean, I asked you guys who you think the most powerful person that you've interacted with so far is. So I feel like it's a question similar to that. Evan also had a number of questions for me. I'll answer one of them now. He asked if the story is coming together how I envisioned it.
Nice.
And the answer is a pretty obvious yes and. I have a habit of, and especially because, let me just say, I have a habit of, until about level 5, railroading pretty heavily. And I think that habit has established itself because this campaign, A Matter of Time, is the first time I am running a campaign for 100% veteran players. Every campaign that I've ever run up until this, there's always been at least one person who has never played D&D before. Or at least in the Stormslayers campaign, a number of the people involved in that had never played a campaign before, but had played one-shots.
Like one-shots, yeah.
But so before this campaign started, everyone that I had done beforehand had new players in it. So I developed this habit of pretty heavy railroading for the first full arc until about or shortly after level 5. And then from there, what I typically do is I say, okay, you finished this arc, you've been railroaded, and now here are 4 or 5 different plot threads that I'm going to throw all of them at you at once, and you get to choose what path you follow. That's typically how I've run things in the past. So, these first 15 sessions, I feel like I have had a pretty heavy hand in guiding you guys narratively through what's going on in the story.
Not narratively, I think it's time frame.
Yeah.
Imposing a time frame is what imposed a little bit. That, and I would call it railroading. I think you're making sure we're progressing at a good pace.
Yeah.
So I don't think you were stopping us from doing it. I think you were just making sure we did it in a good, we picked our battles.
Yeah. I don't mind the term railroading. I've got a whole video on my YouTube page about how railroading isn't necessarily a bad thing, and how there's sandbox and there's railroading, and it's a spectrum. It's not one style or another. And where I fall as a DM style, I'm closer to the railroading side of the spectrum, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But yeah, I think the campaign is almost I don't want to say it's exactly how I envisioned it, because I didn't know how you guys were going to play your characters. I didn't know how your interactions with Smoke were going to play out. I didn't know how often Aspen was going to sneak off, or how drunk Thomas was going to be, or how much of Skia's secrets Justin was going to reveal. So all of those sprinkled in. But as far as the pacing goes, I had a pretty good idea of this first arc going into starting this campaign, and very intentionally, with each session, I'm almost it's the Wallace and Gromit. Gromit is placing the track
as it's going,
as the train is moving.
Mind the table, Gromit!
That's me. I'm putting the pieces on the chessboard that I plan on using throughout the whole campaign, and some of them are put this on real quick, and then we're gonna get to it next session. And then there are some things that I'm okay, I'm gonna put this piece right here, and we'll talk about this in 30 sessions from now.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
See, was BabyDale your longest form campaign, or have you done longer campaigns?
As a DM, that was my longest form. As a PC, I've done, I think the longest campaign I've done was 6 months.
Okay.
But as a DM, that was the longest one. And talking about railroading, I think when you're doing something like this, and we talk about this, there's D20 style and there's Critical Role style, or even the Legend of Vantress is in there as well, where you can either play in it like you're doing, which is closer to, I think it's actually closer to Sandbox, because you're planning a way longer campaign that allows for a lot more development, that allows a lot more intricacies and detail that you can glob onto and then choose to ignore, versus D20 style, which is the style that I'm more prone to because I am a short form storyteller, is that that's why I don't do books. I'm a short form storyteller. You're an author, so you're more of the long form. I like to make sure we're hitting a specific thematic or cinematic. So BabyDale is always supposed to be different ages. One age 3, age 6, age 9, age 12, every 3 years is a new thing. And I've always wanted it to be short and sweet, because I think I'm looking more for a snapshot story, and you're looking for more of an epic tale.
Yeah.
And I think I railroad way more than you do, because by the time I started our on at table sessions knowing where I was going to end.
Yeah, I mean, you
And I think-
have to in a medium such as that, or in
Yeah.
such a short time frame, like you have to.
But you have a little bit more ability
Yeah.
to play around with things, and you can go with the flow of the audience as well. As time goes on, you're figuring out what people are more globbing onto, and what they are interested in, and what fact, and you can also play around if you choose to play towards that strength as well.
Oh yeah. Evan wanted to know from you, knowing how the campaign feels now, would you go back and change anything about Penth, whether that's his build, his backstory, any of that?
No, I love his build. I think he's probably my favorite magic user I've built, even more than Tavros Scottex. Like Tavros he was built as a guide.
Yeah.
And so his version of magic was very protective.
Yeah.
And I think the Grave Cleric is such a fun build to use I was watching, there's a TikTok the other day of a Grave Cleric joke where the guy's like, how much, you need healing, how much HP do you have? And the fighter's like, I have 2 HP. And he goes, well, it would be better if you were unconscious. What? And he knocks him out. He knocks him out and goes, all right, and cure wounds, and it brings him back to 20 health. And he's like, look, aren't you better? And he goes, you killed me, for a second. So I like this idea of a Grave Cleric that's better with the dead than they are with the living, or at least better at healing in that meant. But I would go back and play Session 0, knowing now what I kind of need to be versus my siblings. I think I would be a little less manic. I think Penth should have been a little bit more stoic. But at the same time, I think the volatility helps with memes.
Yeah, I mean, it sure does. And it's always different. Imagining a character and writing them out on paper, and then you sit down at the table and you have to role play them for the first time. It's never what you expect. I think I also certainly expected Penth to be quieter, more reserved, more stoic. But I would not say that I like that idea more than the Penth that we have.
You got the mania. I just think, I don't know. There's something about I might have stolen a little craziness from Thomas, and I may have overshadowed his craziness a little bit. So it's 2 different forms of mania.
Right, yeah. Two different forms of gay sass, honestly.
Honestly, it is truly just mine's gay. I think I'm gay petty, he's gay sass.
Yeah.
I think that's how it's one of those, the pettiness, it's the Greek pettiness, I call it, because it comes from all of us, where it's just how dare you believe that I'm not on top of everything? How dare you believe that you can pull it over on me is a very pet the thing.
Penth has Greek pettiness, and Thomas has Irish guilt.
Yeah. And he handles it with drinking, which is exactly like it
Yeah.
should. Okay, yes, that's my answer. I'll short and sweet. That was what I love my build of Penth.
I
It
do
would be
too.
different if I was more stoic, but I think, the sass needs to be there.
Oh yeah, it definitely I think if the audience couldn't see the necessity of the sass before, I think the scene of Penth and Persephone really brought that out in a way that became very clear to the audience. So I like that a lot. Evan wanted to know from me if I had a proudest reveal or moment discovered so far in the story.
You think about it. I wanted to see if I can guess this one too.
Okay,
Do you know
yeah.
which one? Do you know which one?
I have a few that I've thought about, and a few that I wrote down. But yeah.
Well, Pullman, I think, is number 1. Is the reveal of the fact that he either he was at the thing or that he owns I think he owns the airship. There's
Here's
a fun
the thing
reveal.
is two reveals there. The fact that the iridescent fool was in fact a sky vessel instead of a
Yes.
person.
That was a good reveal.
And the fact that Pullman owned the iridescent fool. Both of those were reveals that you guys had the potential to find those out almost at any moment. For the iridescent fool, really all I needed was for one of you guys to go to the sky vessel docks and do a little bit of investigation there for me to drop that lore. And you guys up until I got Thomas to go to the sky vessel docks in session 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
Up until that point, you guys really hadn't given any interest to the term the iridescent fool. Like Aspen talked to Burvin about it, but Burvin is was not in like the circles to like immediately know that information. And then like when Thomas was there and he got some of the manifests, like at that point, like he had the information that the iridescent fool was owned by Pullman, and like just no interest was given to the fact of who the owner of the iridescent fool was for several sessions, and I was just sitting there going like, but if you asked who the owner was, like, this would be interesting. It's like, yeah, the manifest has like the name, the captain's name, what it does, who the owner is. And
we don't know enough about airships to have asked this question.
And Evan's like, oh, okay, I want to know where it's going. I want to know who the captain is. I want to know what its cargo is. And it's like,
I think it was revealed at the right time, though.
yeah, I think so too. Actually, neither of those were on my list.
Was it the Zachariah Vanderlei being the guy who made the cannons?
Nope.
Damn, okay. Those were the ones that were on my list.
So one of them goes all the way back to our very first session. I was so happy with the introduction of the negotiators on of Spire, sort of like bearing down on that guy who discovered accidentally that he had magical abilities, and the fear and intimidation of the negotiators in that scene. I was really proud of how I did that. Similarly, session 4, the speech of that unnamed dwarf.
Oh yeah,
the history, and I know that's like
it's so good.
Point of contention for you.
It's not. It's not for me. It's a point of contention for Pent, and I think it's so funny. I love it. No. That was a great moment. I loved watching that episode back again, and just remembering me being like, "Who the fuck's this man? He's on and off. He's so on and off with fucking magic."
Yeah.
So good. Anyways, it's great.
And then, like, as far as roleplay goes, you and Smoke in the alleyway in our 7th session, I was really proud of the roleplay in that. As far as reveals go, Persephone bringing forward the spirit of Solomon Winter was very fun, and it was so special to me because he was a character from the very first session of D&D that I was ever the dungeon master for. Like Solomon goes back to Briland, who like was so nervous about running a D&D session for some of his like friends and coworkers that like, oh, people are coming over to play D&D in 10 minutes. I better do some shots. I was, what year was that? 26. Okay, I was 22 at the time.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah, not any. I would no, thank you. But yeah, like, and I was. It was unfortunate that Matt was not available to like guest star in that session, but being able to like I talked with him beforehand and gave him the information about what was happening, and talked to him about like what the spirit of Solomon would be feeling during that time and getting some of his input. It was a really special like moment for me, and it was also very exciting as a storyteller to like bring out this spirit of this previous hero. And it was really cool having Evan sitting right next to me, because like Evan was also there at the very first session that I ever DM'd. So that was a lot of fun. I was very happy with that.
I'm sorry I obliterated him.
Honestly, that battle was great. You guys did awesome. The dice were so heavily in your favor. Like if you go back and you look at the stats of, I was using Ghost stats for Solomon and Shadow stats for the other two.
Shadow's doesn't have too much HP. That's not terrible.
It's not terrible, but like the abilities that they have are insane. And like, so those 3 things against 4 level 4 characters, it should not have been the cakewalk that it was for you guys.
You should have looked at my character chart before you started with 3 undead creatures against a great cleric.
I did look at.
You did look at my cleric ability.
I looked at turn undead.
Yes.
And I looked at the challenge rating of each of them, and I was like, fantastic. Like he can't like immediately like he doesn't.
No, it had to be a roll.
doesn't auto succeed on any of these.
Yes.
So I did look at like the turn undead feature beforehand, but then there's a grave cleric feature that I was not aware of.
Call of the Dead. Call to the Grave, which makes any undead creature vulnerable until the end of my next turn.
Yeah,
vulnerable to all damages. And then the problem was I was already doing radiant damage, which already was vulnerable. Yeah. That was, and I've been waiting. Do you know how many battles you put me in where there was no undead? And you know that I choose Channel Divinity to make sure to see if there was any undead.
Yep.
And there hadn't been one until this is the first time, and I was like.
And Solomon was like having all damage except for radiant damage. Like, man, yeah, that battle should not have been as easy for you guys as it was, but the dice were on your side that time.
It was. Yeah. And also, I will say that is one of the only battles that I think he will be Kent will be as powerful as he was because of the whole vulnerability stuff. I expect my siblings.
In the future?
We'll see.
Yeah.
My shit gets. People get rocked with the Grave Cleric at level 12. Like it's crazy. Anyways, let's do another one. All right. Let's.
I mean, and then just and then as far as like, there are still reveals.
Oh yes.
Up that are close enough that like I find myself like practicing them as I'm like driving or whatnot. So there are reveals in the future that I'm really excited for.
Better be about Epoch.
Might be. Okay, so this is a good segue for the last question that Evan had for you. Do you have any theories or guesses for the future of this campaign while it's still in its first season?
So I was thinking about this earlier, and I think I'm split between two theories about Thomas.
Okay.
The concept of him being magical versus non-magical, and it breaks down this two different tropes of anime. There is the looks normal but is secretly the most specialist boy. The Harry Potter trope almost.
Yeah.
Where it's like, he's just a normal boy, nothing wrong with him. And then he's like, he's the most powerful person ever. We just didn't unlock his power. And like, that's one theory about Thomas. But the other theory is that Thomas should be what we call, it's an Naruto reference again, Rock Lee. He is somebody who just made, his power was being great physically. He didn't have to have magic. He was just, and so my theory.
I'm not a Naruto person, but Evan and I have often, talking amongst ourselves, compared Thomas to Sokka. The non-bender.
Yes. Okay. So that's I'm leaning more into my theory is that the arm is magical or whatever. Burn Him to the Future was magical, but he himself is still not magical because I think
did cast Detect Magic and it said nothing from the arm.
Yeah, but I don't trust Skia. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Honestly, you cannot trust Skia. That's
no, because originally I think
good idea.
The beginning of the season, I thought he was going to be the most specialist boy. That he was secretly the most magical person, and he was the key to unlocking the Fae, magic, all the stuff to bring it back. Okay. Now I think that his point is to be, like, he doesn't have to be magical to be a special boy, is the idea. To prove Father wrong that there is something special about him, not just but the magic has nothing to do with it. Okay. Other than that, that's really all and Epoch. Okay, so this is the weirdest thing. You can cut this if you want to. Skia climbed onto Epoch's back a couple sessions ago, and you said, you said specifically, did you look down? As in, did you look inside of Epoch when you were climbing onto his back? And you said Skia was probably not paying attention to that, was like just looking forward. And so it missed a moment in my brain. I improv for the people at home. You latch on to the thing that's weird.
Yeah.
And it makes you very good at finding what's weird in moments and situations that don't feel normal. And that what I clocked, I said, what is inside of Epoch that could be seen from above? And I have not found a reason for Penn to even utilize this theory, but it's either something organic is inside Epoch or someone is inside Epoch. And I don't believe it is someone in Epoch because I think we can see his internal structure.
He's a significant portion of him is glass.
Yeah, but there might be something organic or something's on the inside of Epoch. Because there's something that you thought Skia was going to see when looking down from on top of him. That is the only other theory I have besides Thomas being a normal guy. And I don't really want to theorize on anything else. I like to keep it to myself until it becomes a thing.
Cool.
Don't worry, I'll be talking to the boys.
Evan wanted to know if I could go back and change anything, a decision, rewrite anything in a scene, what would I change? And really the only thing that I could think of, like I said, very happy with how things have gone so far. The only thing that I would change if I could go back, but I'm committing to it, is you guys know that the fairy that you guys saved from Backroom's
Maidenfly.
You know that she is important to the story, if only because I had Ian make official art for her instead of getting art from like Pinterest or AI or whatever. So I have plans for this character in the future. I regret giving her a Cockney accent.
To have to do later on.
I knew she was going to be in that scene, but I did not think about her voice until Justin, who I did not realize that Skia could speak Primordial, specifically the Aran dialect, the language of wind whispering through the trees and whatnot.
It sounds Cockney.
And then, so here's the thing. What I should have done, and I will probably do this going forward, in Aran, the fairy should not have an accent.
Yeah.
When speaking common. She should.
I like that.
So in the future, I'll switch that so that when she does speak common, she'll have that Cockney accent. And then when speaking Aran, she would not. But so Justin with Skia like started speaking to her, and you can probably see it, like me processing it in the session if you go back and watch, me thinking like, oh, I don't know what voice I'm going to use for her. Let me think about her for like a second. Okay, we're doing this.
Oi, mister, you me dad.
He asked if she was like comfortable or something, as she's like wearing rags and like naked in a cage, and she's like, "You fucking think I'm comfortable?"
It's not bad. It's not a bad accent. It is fun. I will say Aspen is actively obsessed, or I should say Aspen. Sean is obsessed with finding that fairy again.
Really?
He's been constantly about that and the goddamn bell. Those are the two things he has latched on about. The bell, which is coming to fruition.
Yeah, he's mentioned the bell to me.
So,
so excited for you guys to ring the bell. You guys are pissed when you ring the bell.
I don't want to ring the bell. I'm terrified. I think it's too funny if not. My question for you now. This is a fun one to end it on.
Yeah.
If you could create a fifth sibling for us, what do you think the party is missing? Or what do you think we would benefit from? It could be roleplay wise or combat wise, but if you could make a fifth sibling, what do you think that we could be, what we would add?
Sort of going through the classes in my head and going through like character stereotypes in my head, I feel like you guys have a pretty solid spread because of the nature of the setting and the campaign. I wouldn't want anyone who's more like magically gifted.
Yeah, like no druid. Like, well, druid will have it eventually for Skia, but
spoilers. I went out and told you guys at the very beginning of the session, at the very beginning of the campaign, that if you wanted to play a druid or a sorcerer, I would need serious convincing. So not one of those. We've got a bard, we've got an artificer. I don't know that we'd need a barbarian.
I've unfortunately taken up both the healer and the tank. I've covered a double space, not on purpose. I didn't realize I was already doing that. A ranger would be fun, but I know that like Evan always plays a ranger.
Evan kicked ass as a ranger in our Stormslayers campaign. I feel like paladin's mostly covered, fighter is covered.
You do have a pretty good spread.
Yeah. Skia was a wizard in the before times. I don't think I would want a warlock in the party, at least not initially. I don't think it makes sense with like the shared backstory that you guys have. So you do have a really good spread. Something that I think I would, if there was a fifth sibling, what I would want, the first thing that comes to mind, and like Skia almost does this, but isn't super vocal about it, I kind of would want someone to be a like father sympathizer, or like a father like
apologist. Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah. Okay, so Skia is almost there. You're right.
He is almost.
You want someone a little bit harder.
Yeah. So
it's hard the way you built Father. It's hard to find someone more than Skia, unless that would be like Father's true golden child.
Right, and that's something that we've talked about before. Is like, I did a really good job. Pat on the back for me. I almost did too good of a job in our like leading up to the campaign and our session zeros and whatnot, like making you guys hate Father and like detailing the abuses and whatnot that you were put through. And yeah, so it would be hard to make a Father apologist.
I think you did the right thing though, giving us that personality, like building that
Because
into
it has
before.
like that shared trauma has brought you guys together.
And also, it doesn't make us feel like we're figuring it out in the first session.
Yeah.
Like, us not knowing how much we hated our father wouldn't help us make the decision on how we went to the Spire and things like that.
Right.
It would have altered. I think, interesting enough, I would love a fifth something that's more volatile with magic.
Oh,
I feel like we're all magical, but
Yeah.
we're all very finessed with. It would be interesting if there was one sibling that truly was magical, but failed their training, and just was too
Okay.
magical to be able to contain. And that's like a true interest. Like, that's not now. This is like in the beginning. You
Yeah.
probably would have had a completely different take on the Wasp negotiators if we
Right.
had a
If
more
you-
volatile sibling.
If you had someone that you like actively had to hide from Wasp.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
idea of like
that's-
overly like pyrokinetic or someone that truly could not control themselves even if they tried.
That would have wildly changed our first arc.
Yeah, I could
That
imagine.
that would have shaped our first arc
Mhm.
to the point where like even 15 sessions in, I don't know if you guys would have found the iridescent fool or gone to Aquay.
Yeah.
Or you know, even like what Thomas and Aspen did in going to the Wasp headquarters and getting rid of the evidence and whatnot. Yeah, the first arc would have been vastly different if you had someone who was like a wild magic sorcerer and didn't like had this magic and didn't know what to do with it.
Mhm. That's so maybe we'll find someone like that in the future. But that's something I was
Maybe.
thinking about at the beginning, being like we all picked very magically attuned people because
Yeah.
of the training,
Yeah.
except for Thomas, the people who were magical. All right, this has been a lovely insight check.
This has been, yeah, I hope our audience is satisfied with that because there was a whole lot of information there. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, Alex.
Always happy. I'm looking forward to next week.
I'm so excited for
Making
it.
sure my sheet's ready. I can change my spells up now, right? We're gonna be in a long rest period.
Yeah, you'll be
storm.
long resting. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Don't need Zone of Truth. I was so ready to Zone of Truth. I can't Zone of Truth Aspen because my charisma's not high enough to even make a. He would have to get like unconsciously roll a charisma save
Gotcha.
for me to actually Zone of Truth on him because it needs to be like a base of like I think my wisdom save is a 14 and his base charisma already allows him to roll at least 11.
Yeah.
So he'd have to truly eat shit in order for me to, and he'd have to do that every 6 seconds every time he would check. So it's hard. I would love to Zone of Truth the shit out of Aspen, but it's not worth it. So I'm taking out that spell.
Well,
But I have level 3 now.
that's true. That's true. You do.
Hey, yeah.
I am going to have to make sure you have access to my my Revivify rules.
I know you had them. You had them when I was doing Rosalind, so I briefly
Okay.
remember.
They've changed slightly for this campaign, but I will send them to you, and you can look them over and ask me any questions that you have. Just a few additional rules to go along with Revivify and bringing someone back from the dead. Not that I think that that's going to happen in this upcoming battle, but moving forward.
But it's a very fun thing to be a grave cleric who's very against the raising of the dead. To
Yep.
be having revivify, and I have a vampiric touch, which I'm more excited about.
Ooh,
So,
very
yeah, that's
cool.
like grave. It's a grave cleric spell that I get for being grave clerics. All right, I'll take 3d8 damage, health back. Thank you.
Cool.
All
All right,
right.
we'll see what happens next week.